Here's a cool way to spend a Friday night. You got a great studio. We've got liquor, which is really appropriate for a Friday night. And then I got a guy who I finally get down because I should explain. Peter and I have been trying to do this. We haven't been, and then you wind up in town.
That's right.
And we threw this together really last minute. So thank you for being on the fly and doing this, brother.
Thank you for having me, buddy.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
No problem at all.
Yeah, like we just talked about. I'm not a big Zoom guy.
Yeah.
Because I can't figure it out.
Well, at least you're honest.
I'm a retard on cell phones.
It's interesting because you would think during this whole craziness we've been going through, it's either going to make you really adverse to it or you're just going to be like, I now have the plague when it comes to Zoom. And for you, it's just like, no, I can't get this.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, and you saw the size of my phone too. So if I figured it out, I'd have to look at you like, huh? Who are you? What'd you say? So.
I will not down Peter's phone because we're both at least 2 to 4 generations behind on the iPhone, at least.
Yeah, at least, man, at least. But it's always better in person anyway.
I think so.
Because I can look at your eyes.
Well, there you go.
Like, quite a striking individual.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, man. We're going to get right into Elvis right now. You're just going to go right to the Elvis right now.
Yeah, well,
I've done other things, you know.
I know that. But if I'm doing it out of respect, if I was going to do it out of respect, I'd be like, oh, Christmas without you.
This is my biggest record. Well, it ain't bigger than wrestling, but it sold a few more. It's my biggest record. Go something like this. That was from the television show.
Yes.
Now that we got Elvis off our chest, let's move on.
Thank you very much. All right. No, but this is a part of you. I mean, obviously you have a love for Elvis.
Definitely.
Yeah, or else you wouldn't have done it. As a matter of fact, give me photo 10, Chris, when you get an opportunity. I'm already going to start. You did a whole movie, and it was based on a true story.
Yeah. That was written by, not many people are aware that after Gladys died, Vernon and Elvis were, in Germany during that process in 1960, and Vernon met another woman very quickly named Dee Stanley, and she had 2 sons. Okay, and she married him. Elvis wasn't too happy about his father so quickly marrying someone else after his mom recently died. But on the same notion, Elvis really enjoyed having a stepbrother, which is kind of weird because if you go into the Elvis legend about his twin brother and Jesse, Garen, and all that stuff. He kind of he hated the mother or wasn't fond of her, but was very fond. There was 2 of them, but he was particularly fond of David Stanley. And David Stanley literally grew up with Elvis all throughout the 60s outside of Graceland. And long story short, by the time he was 16, 17, he brought him into the Memphis Mafia. He was terrible in school, so he put him through like what Elvis does, put you through karate. He passed muster in karate, got his black belt, and joined the Memphis Mafia unofficially. And that's what the movie was about. It was about the last 5 years of Elvis's career from approximately like 1973 to 77. And it was a wild story to do. It really was. Especially with the guy who grew up with him. Right. I questioned some of his facts because
that's why they said based on a true story.
Well, based on I know Ginger Alden found him, but in the movie I'm like, Dave, why are you in this scene? I've read every book. I don't remember having David find Elvis in the bathroom. It was Ginger Alden. Right. But he remembers it differently. Yeah. And I went with the punches. Like you said, it was based on a true story. Right. But it was a wild ride to make that movie. I did it with Tom Sizemore.
I was about to mention, at that point, I mean, it's good to see Tom doing work, and it just,
amongst other things.
Amongst other things, and again,
he's a great actor.
That's what I'm saying. It's like when he's got his shit together, he is one of the top actors in the game. There's no doubt about it.
No question about it. I mean, you look at his earlier works, from Heat,
good one,
to Save a Private Ryan. There was a very short-lived series he did with Michael Mann that was kind of like a Miami Vice series. I can't remember the name of it. He was fabulous in it. But like a lot of Hollywood, you deal with the demon on your shoulder, But when when Tom hits the mark, he hits it hard.
Yeah.
I had a wonderful experience with him making that movie. I really did.
Protecting the King, if you find it is definitely worth your time, especially if you are an Elvis fan. And it's funny, I didn't want to dive into Elvis that quickly, but at least we kind of got it out of the way. How about that?
First thing out of your mouth was blue suede shoes.
Yeah, actually, it was Blue Christmas. I mean, that's right. For the money. Anyway, enough of that. If we can go back to the beginning, though, I mean, this is where all the photos kind of come into play. Give me photo number 8. We're going to go right to the very beginning. That ring a bell to you?
That's Bates Motel.
Yes, it is.
That was my first one or two lines.
Yeah.
God, you do your research.
I come with it, man.
That's when I first moved out to Los Angeles.
So that was really your first break when you got out there.
Yeah, it was like, well, I was an extra.
Yeah.
And I don't know who was on set. There was the coordinator for the extras, and someone asked me if I had a SAG card and all that stuff. I said I didn't. They liked the way I looked. Kind of like I'm dressed now.
There you go. Nothing's changed.
I was basically dressed like this, and they gave me a line. They gave me a line on that particular thing called Bates Motel, which was a TV movie based on the Alfred Hitchcock film.
The whole thing.
So that's where it started with that one.
Yeah,
very first gig. I'm surprised you knew that.
Yeah, it's just doing a little bit of digging, but it's also realizing it's like going, wait a minute. So you're on there. You've got and I can't believe I'm saying this, semi-unknown Jason Bateman the movie, and then Lori Petty, who went on to bigger things in the 90s.
Well, there's a lot of crisscrossing. Jason Bateman and I, later on, I had a show. I had to drop out because of a contract, and Jason Bateman took over my role on a very short-lived show called Simon. That's all I need to say about that show. Hey, I gave him the football on that one. But going back to the extra work, the best experience after that, I was an extra in La Bamba.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
And the next time you see La Bamba,
what am I looking for?
When Richie Valens delivers the pizza, they go, "Have Richie Valens deliver a pizza to your house."
Yeah, Rick Dees does that whole thing with
you'll see a guy. Everybody's going forwards, and I walk backwards.
I am going to have to pay attention to that scene big time now.
And my pompadour's out to there. and years later, jump cut to like 1989 or something. I did a musical film and whatnot. I hosted an MTV thing with Lou Diamond Phillips, and he remembered me, man.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And the funny, I do remember the movie Sing. That was the movie that kind of, but that was an interesting year for you because it's like as much as
that's when after a lot of the extra work, and that's in those days that's how you learn. Being on the set and taking everything in. You're treated like cattle and all that stuff, but for a kid out of New Jersey, that's what I wanted to do and learn. And then, the usual the acting classes and studying and all that stuff. I was a very, very charge-driven little young actor, and wound up auditioning for a pretty big film from the guys who produced Fame and Footloose, and it was called Sing. Yeah. And it was with a very young Lorraine Bracco.
Yes, I remember that. And it was a young lady named Jessica Steen, who's doing some great work in her home country of Canada.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
What's she doing?
There's a series, I forget the name of it. I should have wrote it
down.
You
know everything.
But,
watch Canadian TV?
When I can.
Oh, good.
I'm like, let's face it, when Jeopardy has useless information, I'm golden. I am in.
That's awesome, dude. That's good. That's great.
But that same year, give me photo number 12. Now, this is something I know on your social media you have raved about Last Exit to Brooklyn.
Best experience of my life. Yeah.
Wow. That's a statement. It really is.
That was a complete, polar opposite. First of all, Sing again was a great experience. We had to learn how to dance.
Sure. Yeah.
Me and Lorraine took dance lessons for 2 months. Both of us had 2 left feet, worked ourselves to the bone. Patti LaBelle and all that stuff.
Yeah, another good one.
It's actually a wonderful film.
It really is. I remember it very well. Yeah,
it's dated, but it does bring a tear to your eye. So then after the Sing film, there was this thing floating around. You heard rumors that a book that I actually read in high school under the same name called Last Exit to Brooklyn from Hubert Selby, which actually originated from a Reader's Digest story about the docks in Brooklyn in the early 50s. And it was very taboo at that time because it dealt with nothing shocking today.
Right.
But in those days, homosexuality, heroin use and so forth.
Right. But even at that point, when you're doing that movie, Peter, it still wasn't completely like, okay, we're more open, but not quite to that point, because this is like the late 80s at this point.
That's correct. Yeah. We shot in 89.
Yeah.
And it was a hell of a process to go. I had to fight like hell to get that role. Those are the days where we actually had to screen test. And originally, I was screen testing with Patricia Arquette. Actually, originally got the role.
The role that Jennifer Jason Leigh had.
The one that it was Patricia first.
Oh wow! Okay.
She had gotten pregnant and she dropped out of the picture. And to my quiet delight, Jennifer Jason Leigh. Jennifer came in and they kind of started the process again, and I tested with her, and she was the most extraordinary actress I've ever worked with, and to this day.
That's a statement. I mean, you've worked. I mean, and we'll get into it later, but you've worked with just about everybody.
They would yell "cut," and I wouldn't leave. I just would stand and say, like, "Peter, we said cut." I'm like, "Oh yeah." I was watching Jennifer. Literally,
that's saying
yeah, literally. So it was. Also, it was a movie that was also going to be done by Scorsese at one point. They had dropped it. It wasn't. He was already working on a little film called Goodfellas, so he dropped out. And a German director named Uli Idle took it over. So it was they on top of the book being very morbid and dark, but very hardcore film. They had a very European point of view.
To this translation of the story,
and very young Stephen Lang, who was just off the Broadway, very young Stephen Baldwin,
and one of the Baldwin boys,
and a wonderful cast. Burt Young,
Paulie from the Rocky movies,
and wonderful cast. Problem was, as a story of my career is, sorry.
Here we go. Here it comes. Right, wait for it.
Sorry. No. Like this fucking actor, he doesn't know that there's a mic in front of him. How's this? Is this okay?
This is fine. You're good.
That when they were doing test screenings of the movie, a lot of people thought it was going to be a coming of age movie like Stand By Me.
Oh.
So by the time they had the rape scene of Jennifer Jason Leigh with 50 sailors waiting, in line, the walkouts were pretty hardcore. And I swear to God, the director who I saw, I go, "What?" He's like, "Yes, I got them right where I want them." Yes, this is the reaction.
But unfortunately, he got the reaction.
But that was to the general public. Right. The film, it was a very, like the book. This wasn't a glossy version of Happy Days.
Right. Exactly.
And the movie's marvelous, and it's shot beautifully. I think Jennifer got robbed from the Academy Award. She won. The film won all around Europe, but America, they just weren't ready for that movie yet. Today, there's nothing even remotely shocking about it.
I love the passion you talk about this because, again, with all the projects you've done, with all the people you've done, this is the one that you just go, this was it.
That's the one that changed my life and just said, okay, this is a real game here, and you got to from now on just try to bring your A game to like you,
like what we do here. Absolutely,
we try to do our best.
Absolutely,
and working with good people, and they influence you.
And speaking of good people, Peter Dobson here on the A Game. Give me photo number 11. Yeah, this is sort of like Peter Dobson. This is your life. But God, you and Zemeckis are like, well, Zemeckis got all of his hair there.
What's he looking at? I was looking at that picture. I go, well, he had so many things on his mind. I'm like, Bob, take a picture. And be like, yeah, right. Hey, put the camera over there. Put the big camera over there. All right, Pete, you're done. All right, I'll go there and play fucking hound dog. And action.
But he was sort of the next step at that point.
Well, yeah, there was. So. All right, so we'll put we'll go to the time machine. We'll get rid of Last Days to Brooklyn. I jumped into another film right after that. That I thought you did your homework. You know?
Well, I can't talk about everything. We've only got an hour show.
Very quickly, I worked with Neil Simon on a film too called The Marrying Man.
With Alec Baldwin,
which was a complete 180 from Last Exit to Brooklyn. It was his comedy with Fisher Stevens. We had a lot of fun making that movie and so forth. With Kim Basinger, and there was a lot of press about them fighting. Yet it was the greatest experience I've ever. It was a wonderful
to be around. I mean, come on, you're around.
A lot of the rumors you heard about them yelling, I never heard any of that. We just had a ball with a very young Paul Reiser, and young Alec, and we had a blast making that film. And it was great to meet and work with Neil Simon. Bob Zemeckis came into to play not too long after. He did a TV. Am I on cue here?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'll help you out. Photo number 9, please. Okay. There you go. Okay. The show. There you go. That is just a great photo. I'm sorry. That's such a great photo. But again, it was one of those shows that's like critical acclaim, got some momentum.
Story of my life.
Yeah, exactly. The story, and I mean this with all seriousness and love. I'm saying this with love.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
The man he's gotten great reviews. He's had projects that should have, could have, but didn't, which is unfortunate. And that's one of those shows where you sit there and
can I have a shot now?
We're not at random shots yet.
All right. Started to depress me already.
Yeah, there we go.
Go ahead. You're on a roll.
I'm on a roll. Thank you. But you take something like this where it's like, okay, this is just a fun ride. And the concept of you just being on the run, for lack of a better term, and suddenly you wind up in a Winnebago and, hey, there we go, Johnny.
Yeah. And that was the concept.
Yeah.
And it was done by the greats, Robert Zemeckis, Frank Marshall.
Yeah.
Jesus, it goes on and on. But Frank Zemeckis and Frank Marshall, Peter Seaman and Jeffrey Price, who wrote Who Framed Roger Rabbit, all the Back to the Future movies, E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark, Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, we can go on and on. It's true.
It goes on and on.
Yeah.
So, and then they didn't want a guy my age. They wanted a much older guy. But I got it to sneak in on an audition from this lovely casting director named Victoria Burrows, who remembered me from an earlier audition and brought me in on the sidelines. And she sent my tape into Bob and made them they weren't crazy about it.
Right.
They're just like, oh, well, whatever, but we want to go older.
Right.
And Victoria really fought for that. That's cool. I give Victoria Burrows so much credit. For helping me finally land that role. Am I okay so far?
You're good.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay.
Keep going. You're on a roll.
So that I got to work with Bob and so forth. And now the reference with the Elvis stuff that we're talking about prior, as you mentioned, the episodes are about this guy going on a lamb.
Right.
Michael Gazzo from The Godfather 2 was the Godfather, always setting out hitmen. And every week, there was like Joey Hiccups. And the next week was like Tommy Two Guns. And he got two guns. They're over like Batman, Yeah. But this one episode we did, Johnny Bago goes to South Dakota in a Winnebago. And he's out there. And he thinks he's away from everybody because his wife happens to be his parole officer.
Right, yeah. And she's been basically stalking you to try to catch you.
The whole time.
Exactly.
From state to state. So, he's relaxing. He gets his camera that he stole or whatever, and he's out there in the woods, and he hears something, and he goes, click, click. And he goes to his trailer, and it's one of those big Polaroids, he pulls the thing out. And as it develops, it's that famous picture of Bigfoot walking like this, from 1967, the whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But as he glows it up even further, it's got gold glasses on it, and it turns out it's Elvis Presley living in a trailer park. Right, so that's the episode. That's the episode, right?
and here's the funny thing: it also leads to.
But that's what happened.
Yes.
So as you mentioned, the show Bonanza, great ratings, great all that stuff. But Bob wanted to take the show out of California. He goes, look. There's only so much I could cheat in California. I really want. I want this guy to go to Miami.
Right. So he wanted to take the show, basically shoot on location.
He was Robert Zemeckis.
Right.
He wanted the locations.
Okay.
See, it was already a lot of money, almost $1 million episode at that time.
I didn't realize it was that expensive. Holy crap!
It was so ahead of its time. This show was a 1 hour comedy. They weren't making 1 hour comedies in those days.
That's very true.
this was even before picket fences and all that stuff. Of course, half your audience says, "What the fuck is picket fence?"
Come on, I remember.
And not to mention, who the fuck is the guy you're talking to? Let's be honest.
Come on, all 8 of them know who you are. Come on, let's get that straight.
so I know I lost my track. So
but as you're saying, at that point.
Oh, so yes,
yeah.
So they said we're pretty much designed to stay here, but Bob stuck to his guns, and they canceled the show. Bob said, "Don't worry, Dobson, we're going to take it to HBO," and. I said, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, sure. You kind of believe Bob, and
after that was tumbleweeds.
Yeah.
So about I don't know. Let's just go move ahead about 2 months. I got a call from Universal, and it was Bob on the phone.
Right.
And he said, "I'm working on this film." And I said, "Is it Johnny Bago?"
Of course.
I did.
Yeah.
And he goes, "No. It's something else. I'm working on this film with Tom Hanks." And of course, my heart was beating. And what's he going? Where's he going?
Right.
And he goes, there's a part of Elvis, because in back to the Johnny Bago episode I did. By the end of the episode, I get up with the real. I teach my character tries to teach Elvis to be Elvis again. That was the episode in South Dakota.
Yes.
As he's eating, everything was cliche about it. Eating peanut butter, and living in a trailer, and my character trying to,
get him going here. Come on.
Get the feet going, man.
Come on. You're Elvis. You can do it.
So then Bob said he had this role of Elvis in mind. And he asked me if I would do it.
And there comes Forrest Gump.
And that was Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
The biggest film I've ever done. Most successful, one of the biggest movies of all time. Yeah. And all you see is my sideburn and his shoe.
Yeah, I know. And here's the other thing, because people I don't think really grasp this. It's like
they go to Kurt Russell, they go to me.
Right.
You hear all kinds of things.
But with that movie, it's sort of like, okay, on a daily basis across the globe, the film probably runs at least a dozen times a day.
It's like a TV show.
Yeah.
It's like Friends.
But here's the thing. When you talk about your residuals and you look at the check and you kind of go, maybe I can have dinner by myself. Maybe.
It's crazy.
I know.
It is one of those things that wherever you're talking, it's probably playing in Turkey right now.
Exactly.
Or something. It's an iconic, like It's a Wonderful Life.
Right.
It's a part of American culture. And that was a great thrill. And then after that, I really had a nice relationship with these guys. And then Bob also executive produced a show called Tales from the Crypt. And I did one of the episodes for him. And I did one more thing for and then I went on to the Frighteners.
Right. As a matter of fact, photo 2.
So I'm helping you now. Moving along.
Chris knew right away. My engineer's like, "Oh no, I know that's photo 2. Oh my god!"
But I'm helping you move. I'm moving this along. Because your viewers are like, I still don't know who the fuck guy is. Oh, he's that guy.
He's that guy. But again, you go from Zemeckis to Peter Jackson, who winds up later on doing all the Lord of the Rings, all the Hobbit.
But again,
movies.
Victoria Burrows, remember that name I mentioned before, was the middle woman in
once again connecting this. Wow.
Peter Jackson wanted a big athletic guy, and Victoria's like, no, try. I did an episode of Tales from the Crypt where I played this wacky daddy song kind of a guy. Like a man-child,
right?
Which is basically what I am.
Anybody that knows the man can attest to that.
Yes. And Zemeckis was the executive producer of that. So when Peter came in, I met him. I read for him many, many times.
Right.
And long story short, wound up getting that role, and then I went to New Zealand to make The Frighteners with Peter.
Did you know that Peter Jackson was? It's interesting because you've met a lot of people before they kind of blew wide open. Did you know Peter was going to be this sort of, become the director that he became?
Definitely.
Okay.
There were some films prior to that. If there was movies called Basket Case. He'd done these Meet the Feebles, which are these very small films that he did, but the genius is all over.
I'll have to check them out, definitely.
And then he stepped very much up the line in filmmaking. Then he made his real American debut was called Heavenly Creatures.
Okay.
With Kate Winslet. It was a beautiful film, and Peter Jackson's handprints all over it. So I had already seen some of this stuff, but not to the level of where he was going by any stretch of the imagination,
right?
At all. Talk about a man-child. Peter was the man-child. He was literally like a kid in the sandbox working with him. He was like a mad genius on the Frighteners.
Nice.
And we had a real special time making that movie, especially with Michael. That was his last big film.
Right.
That was the last time we, so I have great. It's funny that movie's. If you look at it, it's they're on purpose. It's a little like Back to the Future. I'm kind of like the Biff character.
Now did you think about it? Yeah.
If you see the making, there's a documentary on it, and Michael, instead of always going, there's the sheriff in our film, played by John Astin, but he always goes, Doc, and Peter would go, cut. He goes, Michael, Mike. We're not making Back to the Future. We're making the Frighteners, mate.
Come on.
It was just a wonderful experience, man.
And I'm glad you mentioned John Astin. I mean, interesting bit of trivia about Peter. He's actually worked with both the father and the son. You worked with Sean Astin in a movie at one point too. Yes,
with that would be Will Smith's first film.
Yeah. Which brings me to photo number 7. It's just segueing beautiful. This
is like the 1950s. This is your life.
This is your life. This is exactly what this is.
It is. Yeah,
the things you find on social media. Great photo.
Yeah. That was pardon me. That was Will's first movie. That was his first film.
Yeah.
And I basically just beat the shit out of him in the he had prosthetic legs on.
Right.
And his legs were tucked back, and our first day of shooting was me kicking him off his wheelchair.
Wow.
About 20 or 30 times.
So
I didn't know he was going to become the biggest star in the world.
Yeah, if you'd known that, I would have been a little nicer. I'm sorry. It was not intentional, I swear. Oh my God.
Yeah. But and that was made, and that guy who directed that was Alex Rocco.
Oh my God.
Who's the son of from The Godfather.
Yeah, but Alex is, oh God, I remember him from a little known.
Am I getting the name right? There's Mark Rocco.
Oh, Mark Rocco. Okay, so it's
Alex Rocco's from The Godfather.
Yes,
his son Mark
okay.
Rocco directed that film that you just showed, Where the Day Takes You.
Oh wow, okay, cool stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't realize the connection. I was always a big
he was
fan
on
of
his
Alex.
way. He was well on his way to be a great director, and unfortunately, he passed away. I don't know how, but I'm not sure how.
That's too young then, because I remember when Alex passed away. My God.
And that, again, that movie, very much taps in. That's a very timely movie to even watch now. It's about runaways and homelessness, which is vampant in Los Angeles right now, as you can't imagine what LA's like right now. But that film, marked his first film, and of course, he went on to do great things.
Yeah, just a few.
And I'm here with you.
I'm sorry. Oh my God. I'm kidding. No. Am I bleeding? I just got tagged. We have our producer cracking up. I'm dying with Peter Dobson. I'm loving this. To talk about a couple of things that are now available. Like this came out like during the summer. Photo 14. Dirty Dead Con Man. I was actually talking about this with Joe Cernio, who was one of the producers of it. I talked to him a couple weeks ago. And the gentleman on the right, I'll put the photo up one more time, Chris. I'm sorry about that. But Kevin Interdonato, who's suddenly a very hot property on Showtime thanks to the Kevin Bacon series. My God, good for him.
Another guy that I'd worked with. I met very quickly. I met him back in Los Angeles at an audition, and we connected very quickly. And he had that wonderful project, Dirty Dead Con Man, in his head, and we helped him develop it. And I got working with him. I said, this guy's like, and I'm not vaguely exaggerating. He's up there with Tom Hardy. This guy, he's a fabulous actor. Fabulous actor. And I said earlier, I hope you have him in.
I want to. Yeah.
He's working on a lot of stuff right now too. I was just with him last night. He lives up in North Jersey with his wife Amanda, who's also on the show.
Exactly.
City on a Hill,
which is a great show.
Yeah, terrific. Yeah.
If you're watching, please, you're more than welcome. I know Joe has put in a good word for me.
There you go, Kevin. And Joe, you did a good job too.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Joe, you did a great job.
Actually, one of your friends was in that movie too, which it ties back to something in the beginning. Louis Mandylor.
Yes.
Now you go back many years. With Louis.
You sent me a clip today from the YouTube from Can't Hurry Love.
Do you remember that?
Not till you sent it to me.
Oh, that's wild.
No, not at all.
I should explain.
It's not like I sit home looking for my old shows.
No, I know. You got a lot of other things to do. So suddenly, hey, see, Rob, thanks for the trip down Amnesia Avenue. Thanks a lot, really.
Like I said, breathe that bottle closer. I'm getting depressed again. How many failed shows you got to show on my? Bring it closer.
Yeah. The thing, and again, it's a shame because I mean, the one thing I've noticed about YouTube is that it's been bringing back a lot of these shows that people forgot about. And I was doing my homework and I watched Can't Hurry Love, and I'm sitting here going, I remember it because I remember huge Nancy McKeon fan.
Right.
I didn't put two and two together.
Facts of Life she was on. Remember that show, Facts of Life?
Yeah. Exactly. That's where I think everybody had a little bit of a crush on Joe Polnicek, you know?
Yes. Me included.
There you go.
Pardon me. And Mariska.
That's the thing. Mariska Hargitay, I didn't put two and two together until I saw that again, and I was like, oh my God, before Law and Order.
And if you look at her closely, buddy, she looks, her mom was Jane Russell. I'm sorry.
Mansfield.
Jane Mansfield. They look exactly alike.
Oh my God, more so now than ever.
It's kind of like, I always put Martin Sheen in this category. If you look at Martin Sheen, you take Charlie Sheen, you look at Emilio Estevez, right? Mm-hmm. They look nothing alike, right? Emilio and Charlie, but they both look like their dad, right?
Yes,
especially Emilio. Now Mariska, she is a spinning image of her mom.
Yeah,
it's
nothing against her dad. I mean, Mickey Hargitay back in the day was like the bodybuilder.
It was Mr. Universe.
Mr. Universe, yeah.
So anyway, that show goes back, and that's where I first met who I call the Switch.
The Switch.
Just a very quick story. I did a horror movie.
Please.
I did a horror movie with him a few years back in Romania, and I have like I said, I have a nickname for him. I call him Switch.
Okay.
And the reason I call him Switch is because Lewis pretends to be this yoga guy. He's very peaceful. He's always fighting he's always just some no wheat germ Buddha thing he's on.
Oh, namaste, Lewis. Namaste.
And I went out there to meet him in Romania, and a couple of days before we were shooting, he took me out to this big field with literally hundreds of goats, and there was a herder. It looked like a Led Zeppelin album. The guy with the thing. I swear to God, he had the thing. I was like hearing Houses of the Holy from Zeppelin, looking at it, right? And Lewis is like he's from Austria,
right?
Australia.
Australia.
He's like, mate, isn't this great, mate? Oh, it's just a piece He's like, forget the horror film. The reason we're here, Peter, is to bring our friendship closer together. It's for inner peace. We're gonna have such an amazing time. And then as he's saying this, all of a sudden I see sheep moving, and there's this little blue car that's going, and he's like, just find your inner self, and with all his might, he punches the car and smashes the back window.
Oh no! Yeah, there we go. There's
smashes the back window, and of course, I broke down. I couldn't stop laughing for days after that, and that's how he got his nickname, the Switch.
That's a great story.
Yeah, off and on, just like that.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that story is not even remotely exaggerated. That's exactly what happened.
Why am I not surprised? Yeah. Because I mean, you're not only close with him, and I'll mention his brother in a second.
Yes.
But
they're kind of like my family.
That's cool. Yeah,
I've known them both since the 80s.
Before I get into that, Dirty Dead Comment, you can find right now on Amazon. You can find it on Netflix. It's worth checking out. Definitely. Not only because of Kevin Interdonato, because of this man Peter Dobson, but also Claudia Christian, who's got a semi-regular role in 911 right now on Fox, and of course Louis Mandylor. And then his brother, photo number 4, please. Is a great shot.
That's Louis.
Oh, it is Louis. I thought it was Costas.
That's how much they look alike.
They do.
That's on the set of Hotel of the Damned.
Oh wow!
The filming men room. I can see
Costas. I apologize.
They do look alike.
They really do.
And Costas is actually back. He's in Europe now, along with his brother. They do very well out there.
I don't know if they've done a lot of movies, but recently on cable, I saw this movie. It was a soccer movie based on the true story about the U.S. team played Great Britain back around 1950. Gerard Butler's the lead, but you got both Mandylor brothers in the movie. Yeah,
that's right.
Great piece of work, and it was very underrated. The only reason I remembered it, because being in radio, they were making a big deal about Gavin Rossdale of Bush making his acting debut in the movie. Right. It's not like a big role for Gavin, but again, you're in one of the biggest rock bands in the world. Here he is in the movie, but it's Butler and the Mandylors that really carried that movie.
Right.
Great story.
And they're true athletes.
Yeah.
That movie was very reminiscent of, remember Victory with Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah, that's the comparable. Absolutely.
Kind of an extension of that film, if you will. But Lewis and Costas are true athletes, true soccer players,
right?
And Lewis is a real boxer.
He's
hurt me many times.
Well, I was about to say,
believe me,
I will say the video that I posted on your timeline, the episode of Can't Hurry Love, you actually are sparring in the ring with him.
I took a couple of shots of him making that episode. That's why it brought back memories. Yeah,
memories of like going, oh great, how many shots did I take to the face?
Oh yeah, he took a lot of shots at me. He loved it. He loved it. That's how we rolled.
Now, Costas also...
Louis a bully.
Damn it, Louis. Oh man, if I get you and the Mandalore brothers, oh my god, I think there'd be this could be out of control.
You should have the two of them together. It'd be
I would be honored.
You feel like you're making a Guy Ritchie movie with on either side of you. Believe me, trust me.
I got to mention Costas for one other thing, because part of the reason you've been in Jersey is you've been doing some investigating, we'll say.
Yeah.
But you did a short film. Now, I should explain. This has been a passion project of Peter's for a while. And Chris, if you scroll, I don't know if I put the photo in there. I think I did. If you scroll up, let me see number 1. That's it. Give me that. This was a short film you did 10 years ago.
That's right. That's my cousin Matt Hoyle, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Right
I didn't realize you guys are related.
He was right over there in Allenhurst.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I call that my wife. This project. It's the best and worst thing that ever happened to me.
Right. You start with this, and a lot of people don't realize when you're doing a short film, the whole idea sometimes is that you're doing this 15-minute thing, and you're hoping that it eventually can become a full-length feature project.
Right.
So you do this, get it into the Garden State Film Festival, you get it some attention, and it's, and the hope is, and I get the feeling with you being from Jersey, growing up around Asbury Park, this is such a passion project, but here we are 10 years later, and we're still talking about it.
Bring that bottle closer.
Yeah, here we go. The bottle inches closer now. We'll keep it right there.
10 years. 10
years.
It's 10 years trying to make this movie. Yeah, it does start with that. It starts with an idea,
right?
And then from an idea, it goes on to paper. Mm-hmm. Then paper, you get into the writing, and I became a madman with this project because I did grow up in this area, and I remember it very well. And I romanticize about the old Asbury Park, as I'm sure many do from our ilk and our generation.
Right. Yeah, if you go back as a kid in the 1970s, what Asbury Park is today, and if you see Asbury Park, New Jersey, even if you're not from New Jersey, I mean, it's getting a lot of accolades. It's now one of the hottest places to vacation now. Yeah. And the beach is done. And bravo to Asbury Park for what they've done.
Right.
Because we can remember the 70s where you had the Ferris wheel, you had the carousel, you go down the boardwalk. Right. It was something that a kid would enjoy.
Beautiful.
And then I remember the 90s, which was like, I'm working in radio, hosting shows with the Stone Pony, walk 2 blocks, you may be taking your life in your own hands.
Exactly.
But that's, I think, the beauty of it. It's like, it was beautiful. It went down. It's revitalized. Yeah. But we still, our age, can remember that whole, the lights and walking the boards.
It's a special place to a lot of people. Yeah. People even visited back in the day. It really is. It's a magical, there's something about when you walk, I was just on the boardwalk the other day. Yeah. There's something just very magical. You can feel the spirits when you walk in the casino. Yeah. You can feel that you feel it. But this project's not about the Springsteen stuff. It's like writing a movie about Memphis in the 50s or jazz in the 50s. You're going to mention Elvis because it took place in Memphis.
And that's going to be the same thing where I think the initial vibe is going to be like, okay, it's the 70s, we're talking Springsteen.
And then you make the affiliation with Asbury Park.
Correct.
But what was really going on in those days outside of the music, remember, the music goes, the reason Springsteen was hitchhiking from Freehold to come here was because of the music scene. Right. And there was also a thing called the circuit. Mm-hmm. And it went on from about 1968 to about 1980, actually. Okay. And these were the weekend drag races. It was literally the East Coast version of American Graffiti. And these were big races that I remember coming to as a kid with the tricked out Mustangs and the Shelbys and the Cobras and the 73 Chargers. Wild. And you would see this stuff just, going right down Ocean Avenue with all the pagans on one side. And I just never forgot all that. And then of course you go earlier back into Asbury Park, you have the jazz era. Yeah. Count Basie, who's from Red Bank.
Right, exactly.
Red Bank Basie. Mm-hmm. Sarah Vaughan was very intricate here. So you had the jazz era in Asbury Park. Then we went into the 50s. You had the doo-wop. Mm-hmm. You got the guys in from Philadelphia. Yeah. And Bobby Rydell down there from South Jersey and whatnot.
You know your shit.
And they would all come to Asbury Park and do the music. And, then to the 60s with the Rolling Stones, the Doors. Mm-hmm. One of their best concerts was right there at Convention Hall. Right. And not many people know that Led Zeppelin, the only reason they were supposed to play Woodstock, but they couldn't because of the concert here.
Right.
So there's this wonderful, as you can imagine, background, music, cars. This culture. There was this one, and It's kind of safe to say that, when you listen to Springsteen's earlier works, as we all saw, we all saw the same thing he did. We all grew up in, were these cars, and that's why his masterpiece Born to Run and all that is like, listening to these engines and his lyrics are of course beautiful, but we were all there witnessing this same thing, and this is the vision that I couldn't get out of my head. And I started writing that thing back in 2008, digged in my own bank account. As I was still writing it, and I said, "Let me see if I can fucking direct." But I took a lot of.
I was about to say, were you intimidated by that whole process? It's like the writing is one thing, but now it's stepping in and like, okay, I'm gonna have to direct this.
If I just go back to the early part of the interview when I was working with Uli Idol,
right?
Remember how serious that got?
Yes, I remember that. I was there. Ago? I was there with you.
That also introduced me into filmmaking when I worked with Uli. That influence, okay. I never left the set. I was there constantly watching Uli Idol, this master of cinema. And I did the same thing again with Peter Jackson when I worked with Peter.
So this was a building block in a sense, having these two influences.
They would have to throw me off. They would pretty much throw me off the set hours after I wrapped. I was just enthralled with the process of filmmaking.
So at some point, directing was just inevitable.
It started coming in there. Yeah. And then when I had this idea for the Asbury Park project, I said, okay, man, let's put your money where your mouth is, put some knowledge, and let's take some of your money out of your account and go make a short film. Just get it out, so learn, make mistakes. That's what you do. You make mistakes and you get it out there. And I made it, and it's okay. It is what it is. I don't want to, this is 10 years.
Right.
And I've been through a lot of roller coasters with this project. A lot of people are sick of hearing about it. We've had close starts with it before.
Right.
I've had financiers step up to the plate who pulled the plug just a few years ago. I don't want to give a cry story. That's the nature of our business.
It does happen, unfortunately. Yes.
The insanity is that the only way to get ahead is that you got to keep going. It's as cliche as that sounds. You just got to keep going. Yeah. If you believe in something. And if you don't believe in it, then you just walk away from it. But this is kind of like Kevin Costner. You build it, and then it will come. Kind of a moment. So here we are. All right. So I'll jump cut for you.
Okay. Yeah, you're in town.
I'm relaxed now. Put the bottle away from me.
All right. For a minute, because we're almost at that point.
I'm not depressed anymore.
All right. Good. Okay. But we're almost at that point. So anyway. But I mean, part of the reason you're in town, I gather, was to kind of, you're looking around Asbury, checking some things out, but still not where you want to be yet. Let's say it that way.
And that's a very political way of saying it. Yeah. It's a very smart way of saying it. How do I say this? I've got a great cast. I can say that Pesci is an institution to me. He's just a glorious actor that I love and that I'm privileged to know.
Amen.
I can say that he read the script. He didn't want to like it. He wound up liking it very much. And now it's pay me, motherfucker.
There you go.
And when we are a little closer to that element, we will. He's worth every penny. He's a master talent. We have, and I can honestly say that we're looking at people like Travolta to put these gentlemen together, if we're fortunate, and a very young cast of unknowns. I'd like to discover some new talent in there. I think since we've come out of this pandemic, that the movie business is upside down. Doesn't matter who's a star. It's a good time to discover some new talent out there. And excuse me. And I think this project will allow some great talent to be discovered. Hopefully.
Keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
No, absolutely, man. That's fantastic.
I mean, this is one of those projects that
you can tell just again the way you speak, the way you did the process. Like you said, you put your money where your mouth was, just to do the short film and kind of say, okay, here's my first step. Now I'm going to do all this. And at any point you could have just said, you know what, screw this. I just can't deal with it.
And I have at times.
But you're human. How could you not?
Exactly.
I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
But you kept at it, and it's like, okay. And I guess the best way we can say this, you can see the finish line. You're not there yet, but if and when you get there, it's like going, I'm excited for you because again, you get to do the thing that you've been waiting to do for so long.
Correct. That's exactly right, man.
Thanks, man.
Come here.
Give me it. Oh, love is love.
That's exactly right. Very well put.
Thank you very much.
And that's where we're at. So we're looking at a very good 2022, and which will take me to this. So during the pandemic, I have been getting a lot of musicians.
Yes.
Because as I mentioned prior to the interview, when we do make the film in the 70s, and there's some stuff we have in the 1960s. I'm not going to be just using the hits, the AM hits from the 70s.
Right. You're actually looking for original music. That
there's a character I
have.
We named Johnny Ballantyne. It's a fictional character.
Okay.
And I don't want that character to sing cover songs. Right. I don't want them to sing Ron Stewart in the Faces. I want them to have their own music. So a lot of musicians have been sending me demos who've gotten the script. And this one I got was a guy named Davey Law out of London. He moved to Nashville. He got a hold of my script somehow. Turns out it was from a mutual friend who also told him my story, as pretty much as I'm telling you right now. And he wrote this song called King. Nothing to do with Elvis.
There's the ironic
Hey, Dobson,
twist,
how original. King. I'm like, no,
it's
no,
wait a minute. I didn't write the song. It wasn't me.
Exactly.
Wait, time.
It's a double. And it hit kind of how hard it is to make a film.
Sure.
If you listen to those lyrics, there's a lot of in there.
Yeah.
And I decided to take a little piece of the movie itself. So it's not just a music video, but it's a little bit of a short film.
Right.
Just a little taste of the movie. And I'll tell you something funny, buddy. Well, so after all this time, here we are. Like you said, 10 years later. So I'm just waiting for people to ask me. So let me get this straight, Dobson. So
here we go.
What's your movie about? It's about cars. Okay, good, buddy. And so I understand you just did a music video recently that you're exploring in the music world. What's your music video about? It's about cars. My life for 10 years, and they're like, "That's the outline of it, buddy."
By the way, you're gonna get a glimpse of the outline when we wrap up this podcast because we'll play the video. Thanks to this man right here because he happens to own the rest of the music, so we got approval. So you can't flag it. You got to play it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
Okay, now we'll do the random shot.
All right.
So these are I got a few questions that are just going to come from absolutely nowhere. Larceny is the choice of this, and
all right, what do you got there, buddy? Larceny. Oh, that's what it's called.
Absolutely. Cheers to you. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate that. There we go. All right. So, as I always do with my guests, I come up with about 4 or 5 random questions that could be about anything. I'm glad you enjoyed that. All right. Now, where are my questions? Here we go. All right. Growing up in the Jersey area, I got to ask, baseball team, Yankees or Mets, who are you rooting for?
Not really a baseball guy, but if I had to pick, I'll go for the Yankees. I just wish the politics would get out of baseball right now.
Okay, fair enough.
So I'm not even looking at baseball.
All right.
Until the politics are out of sports.
Well, I will do this. Then we'll go to a different angle as far as this go.
But I'll say the Yankees if I had to pick one.
Okay, give me photo 13 because this sets it up a little bit.
Oh, I know where you're going.
There you go. You knew where I was going.
Joe DiMaggio, of course.
Now, what was that like? You're playing a figure like Joe DiMaggio. Yeah. I mean, was that more intimidating playing Elvis?
Yeah, in a sense it was because first of all, as you can tell, I'm Irish.
Yes, exactly. And I'm half Irish, right. So I'm with you there.
So playing an Italian baseball player when I really knew very little about baseball was intimidating, but thank God I don't have to play baseball in the film.
Right. You just had to portray DiMaggio.
It was more about the relationship.
Right, with Marilyn Monroe, yeah.
Right. In his fictionalized movie where Mira Sorvino plays the conscience of Ashley Judd.
And Ashley Judd's Norma Jean.
She's the Norma Jean.
Right.
The original.
Right. And Ashley's playing Marilyn Monroe. Right.
So I had to do a lot of research on that, watched a lot of, old interviews with Joe.
Oh, sure.
Particularly the great, after she died and how, when Joe flew back, I mean, he wanted to kill the Kennedys.
Yeah.
He wanted to kill everybody, Yeah.
It destroyed him.
Just wrecked his life. He wrecked his life.
Yeah.
Which the movie didn't really get to. They actually had me, throwing spaghetti sauce and all that shit. But But that's when I learned about, and I remember Joe DiMaggio. Remember, we're the same age.
Right.
What was his big commercial from the 70s?
Mr. Coffee.
Mr. Coffee.
That's
right.
That's funny. Yeah, we didn't really
Mr.
watch him play,
Coffee,
but we remember the
WPIX.
commercial. Come on.
WOR, WPIX. You got it.
If you grew up in
Crazy Eddie, his prices are insane. Christmas in August.
In August? In August. All right, you'll appreciate this question because
love Crazy Eddie.
We
That's a great movie there, by the way.
What's that?
Someone should make a movie about Crazy Eddie.
I'm surprised.
Remember, that's not crazy. That was Jerry Carroll,
right?
The actor,
right,
who passed away. But the real guys, they went to prison. All
right.
That stuff.
There's so many fascinating twists, but I'm surprised nobody's really tried to get into that.
I heard a rumor a few years ago that DeVito was floating the idea of the whole. I mean, just think of the background with Jerry Carroll, the actor, the Crazy Eddie empire, and how it all came crumbling down with the drugs, extortion, whatever they did. They were crooks,
right?
And they did real time.
And the funny part is, you mentioned probably the perfect guy who should be doing this. Being a Jersey guy, DeVito knows just.
I'm telling you, we grew up in the greatest era of TV. This is why I'm such a nerd, because Joe, we're the same age, and you can attest to this. He can't because he's younger.
Chris is like sitting there kind of going, what?
He doesn't remember the banana splits.
Tra-la-la.
Okay.
At least we didn't start singing that song.
But WPIX.
Channel 11 and
Chiller
Channel 9.
Theater and all that stuff.
So, Romper Room and all that. Oh,
right.
Please, yeah.
Wonderama.
Yeah, another one.
And the commercials that are just left in our brains.
Oh, big time.
Like Crazy Eddie. Yeah. I remember Chiller Theater. It had the 6 fingers.
Oh my God.
Good claymation.
Sick memories. I love it.
Yeah.
This one you'll appreciate because I remember we were going
that
back.
That had nothing to do with Joe DiMaggio.
No, but again, it's a podcast. We'll go off on tangents when we want. I remember we were kind of talking about this. I'm expanding upon it because I responded on your Facebook page about this. So, best film by Walter Matthau: Bad News Bears, Odd Couple, or The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3?
The answer number 3.
Yes, had a feeling you're going to say Pelham.
Although I do love The Bad News Bears.
Great movie.
Because again, that's our age.
Yes.
If you go back to 1974, I was 10. So you can, and of course now there's trivia with that movie.
Right.
You want to hear it?
Go ahead.
So the Bad News Bears. Now, who played the other coach?
Oh,
it was Vic Morrow.
That was Vic Morrow. Oh, I remember the pitcher who was Brandon Cruz from Court of Betty's
Vic
father.
Morrow played the coach of the Yankees.
Right.
Remember?
Yes.
Now, what movie did they co-star together with?
Oh, you're going to
with Elvis.
Oh, wait a minute.
King Creole.
That's right. Oh my God.
Walter
Shot in
Matthau,
black
Vic
and white.
Morrow,
yes.
And Elvis Presley. And you know what, buddy? I just thought about that 2 weeks ago.
That's funny.
I said, wait a minute. What? They did Bad News Bears together. They were in King Creole together back in 1958.
That's wild.
With Elvis. See, everything circles back to Elvis.
It does. One way or another, it does circle back to Elvis.
But Taking Pelham 1, 2, 3, I also call it probably the top 5 movies of the 70s.
I can't argue with that. It was just, as a young kid, you're on this intense ride with everybody.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and it's one of those, and I remember Robert Urich, who's playing one of the cops, trying to, don't worry, we'll make it. We're not going to make it.
No, not Robert Urich. You said Robert Urich?
Robert, yeah, he was the young cop who's trying to get the money there. He's like, don't worry, we'll make it.
Oh, that was Robert Urich?
Yeah.
From Dantana?
Yeah.
That was him?
Yeah.
You just taught me something.
See that? It was a small role, but remember to go, don't worry, we're going to make it.
That's him.
We're not going to make it.
That's him.
That's him.
Well, thank you for, I know that movie inside and out.
Wow.
And you just taught me something.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, the classic line, of course, that movie is your son tight. Yeah.
And the music.
Absolutely. Nothing against the reboot that they did with Travolta.
No, and if you're gonna do it good, and they did it great.
Yeah,
there's no Travolta was wonderful in that.
Yes, he was.
But back to the original, you just Robert Shaw and that whole the way he played.
Yeah, the way Shaw as a villain. Oh my God.
Yeah. And they tell me, did they still have the death penalty?
Yes. Oh yes.
Remember?
That's a classic scene.
So, so the answer is Taking Pelham 1, 2, 3.
You mentioned Elvis with King Creole, but when it comes to Elvis, best movie he ever did, in your opinion?
I go right back to King Creole. I say that because, excuse me, the film was directed by Michael Curtiz, who who directed Casablanca and all the great film noir and every other great movie from the 30s and 40s.
Which explains why it had the feel that it had in that movie.
Yeah, and look at the cast. So with Walter Matthau and Carolyn Jones, it was Elvis's favorite film, and it's a wonderful film. And the music with the combination of New Orleans and
from the opening scene you get the whole vibe of New Orleans.
Yeah, man.
Darling.
Yes. And that was absolutely Elvis's favorite film. I think all his great films were made prior to the army. I mean, Love Me Tender when he still had the blonde hair.
Yeah.
This soul has no chimney. Remember that?
Yes.
And there was just this sweet kid who was just barely 21 years old. I mean, think about it. He just got thrown into Hollywood so fast. And
the thing that I look back on with him is like when he did his last film, I really thought, okay, he's making a nice transition. I thought Change of Habit was going to be the thing that might springboard him a little bit into better roles, and it never happened. And I think it's unfortunate because it's like when you look at King Creole and you look at Change of Habit, it's like, okay, Elvis is showing you he can act. It's not like he's doing this. And as much as I love Roustabout, there was nothing really challenging for him in that. It was
just aroused.
Exactly.
You just want to go like this. Now.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, that
was the movie.
That was the movie right here. Right, exactly.
But he was offered the role in 1976 from Barbra Streisand, A Star Is Born.
Yeah, I did read that.
And he wanted to do it very much. The Colonel wanted Elvis to have top billing. Of course, in those days, Barbra Streisand was the bigger star,
Absolutely.
blah, 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 in terms of films. Elvis, from what I understand, regretted the hell of not making that movie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I see Chris Christopherson, he was wonderful, but every time I see that film come across it,
you can picture Elvis and just
totally,
and you're sitting there going, "Yeah, here's the Oscar nomination. Here's all of it."
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I just hope they don't remake it anymore.
It was a good remake, but we're done.
Well, remember,
it's been redone. What is this? The fourth time they've done this movie?
It was made in 1934.
Right. Then there was one in the 50s.
Then there was one. The great one is with Judy Garland and James Mason.
Okay, that's
the great one.
Right.
Then in
came the
1976,
Streisand's, right, and then this recent one.
And then the recent one.
That's what I'm saying. 4 times. I think we could say that's enough. Yeah. Growing up in Jersey.
You can't reboot that movie again.
No, you can't. I'm sorry. We're on force the line. That's it. Actually, let me go to this one first because we're going to stay on the Elvis topic because there is an Elvis movie scheduled to come out. 2022, Tom Hanks is playing Colonel Tom Parker.
Is that back now?
The word is they're going back into production. What is your feeling about Hanks and?
Well, I know who the actor is. It's the guy from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah. Austin Butler.
Yeah, he played Tex in the movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've done the role. I mean, do you see him? I
saw that. Look, it's so taboo. It's such a hard thing. No one ever. I don't care who you are.
Right.
No one's ever going to come close to him.
Right.
Let's be honest. I mean, I even love Don Johnson's version. To be honest with you, I thought he was great. The best version, in my opinion, by far, of course, Kurt Russell from the 1979.
No, absolutely,
hands down the best. Nobody else did it better.
No, agreed.
Case closed. This young actor is a fine actor. He was a standout to me in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. What I love that film, by the way. And I think I know who the choices were.
Right.
And I think they made the right choice. I think that guy's going to, if it in fact being true that they're going to make the movie.
Right.
Yeah. And of course, who's Tom Hanks not going to play? I mean, he's playing everybody.
Yeah,
you notice every year, Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
How many more real people can he be playing?
Yeah, right. The guy who invented Q-tips. Tom Hanks.
That'd be an interesting movie. Will that be about a 5-minute movie? It's like, I invented the Q-tip. Movie's over. All right, I got to do this one only because distinctively Jersey growing up around here. Did you have a favorite diner growing up?
I sure do, buddy.
Which one?
All right, I was just up visiting my mom, my brother up in New York State, so I'm going to leave that one out. There's one, I'll give a big plug. It's called the Red Hook Diner, but that's in New York State.
Okay, fair enough. But good to know.
But here in Jersey,
yeah.
People dispute this. I say the Monmouth Diner, the blue one on Route 36.
I know it.
Yeah, that's my favorite. But a damn close second is right across the street, right there. The Americana.
Oh my God! Yeah, the Americana. Yeah. I'm not arguing with that.
You guys are like, buddy, it's right there.
Yeah, exactly,
buddy. Just look out your window. It's right there. You're like, yeah.
As somebody, but
That's
again,
a close second.
oh yeah, and don't forget
Those two are my favorites.
I when I was working in radio, my first job was in Eatontown on Hope Road, so I was right near the Americana or the Blue Swan, either one.
Yeah.
And then I actually did some writing for about 3 years, and the Red Bank Register was literally like a half a mile up from the Americana. So yeah, I've spent enough time around there.
I remember the Red Bank Register.
You remember that?
Sure I do. Sure.
Yeah, from growing up around here.
Yeah.
So.
And we don't have the diners in California except Norm's, which is me and Kevin. If you have Kevin in, that's what me and Kevin lived in, Norm's.
Yeah, but are they doing good disco fries? I mean, come on, man.
No,
I didn't think so.
Food is just better on the East Coast, period. It's not
we know pizzas and bagels. I mean, come on, right here. I mean, come on.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what I would love to give a shout out to, if I may.
Please do.
It's LC Subs in Red Bank. Buddy, yeah, look at you.
You just made my engineer very happy.
I years ago, I've been going there since a child. My father has been going there since its origins in 1959. We would literally go there every Sundays and go to the Eatontown Drive-In, watch movies, or the Perth Amboy Drive-In.
Oh, that was well known. If you grew up around Jersey,
we always had the LC Subs with us. Yeah. And I remember years ago, and I said this so long ago, but I went in there, and I was already living in LA. I go, man, you guys, why don't you branch out and do a chain of these things to bring the flavor to the West Coast? Because they got Subway out there. No one's getting it right. They're putting fucking mayonnaise on it. They don't get it. And they're like, no, we kind of toyed with the thought, but it's too expensive. Boom. Mike's.
Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike does it.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
No,
they're very good.
I remember they hit Vegas first, and then eventually came to
look at them now. And of course Subway's sweating them now, and the subs are great. Mm-hmm. However, you got to magnify it 1,000 times. This is Mike's, and this is
LC's. Yeah,
it's like this, right?
Yeah,
buddy?
It really is.
And the bread. There's not a better sub in the entire state of New Jersey. I'll stand by that. Now, probably on the East Coast is LC Subs in Red Bank, New Jersey. Yeah.
See, now it's like, okay, I'm going to have a sub there very soon.
Buddy, you should. Right? There you go.
There you go.
Thank you.
Hey, listen, we're going to wrap up. We were talking about the band. Again, give a plug to Davey Law.
Absolutely.
We're going to play the video.
Oh, terrific. His name is Davey Law. Incredible talent. I met him last year. He got in my brain. He gave me a dream song that I plan on using in the film. Mm-hmm. Usually the video comes out after the movie.
In this case, it's coming out before the movie.
I kind of reversed it, just a little preview of things to come. And and I can't thank that artist enough. He did a brilliant job in rock and roll, man.
Yeah, and it really does kind of set up where you're trying to go, because we're going to play the whole thing, the interlog into the actual video. So we're getting a feel for what would the movie potentially look like a little bit, right?
Yes, you're getting a very, very a little taste of. I don't know. He mentioned that he liked American Graffiti.
Yes,
and there is a little bit of tip of the hat to films like American Graffiti, The Outsiders. We do have sprinkles of that in this film and in this music video as well.
Very cool. That's where we're going to wrap it up here. Man, thank you. I mean, this has been a blast.
Oh, buddy, please. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll have to do it again soon.
Meet you two there back there.
Chris, thanks for handling things here. Let's wrap it up. This is the video. This is Davey Law. Check out King here on the A Game.
The look of love is in your eyes. Your smile can't disguise.
Power steering.
It takes so much more than just words could ever say.
What do you see? I think it's your real linkage.
Comment. It's blistering. Comment. Will make your mouth turn green. Comment. Will make you vomit. So come on, by comment and vomit. Hey.
We'll find out soon enough, guys.
Hey, Bobby, how the hell are you, kid? How you doing, kid? All right. Hey, Nadine. Fellas? Hey.
Say, buddy. Go, man. All right, I'm good. Hello there.
Hi. Hi, yourself.
You guys from around here?
We're from Ocean. What about you, big boy?
Big boy. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I like your hair. It's like a reverse Farrah Fawcett thing going.
Thank you so much. I like your hair.
Bobby! Hey, Trimboli. How you doing, Mr. Trimboli?
I'm good. How you feeling, kid?
Feeling good.
Yeah, you feeling strong?
Oh, I feel strong. Come on.
Good, because I need you to win this race tonight. Hey, Tarzan, get your paws off the car and put your eyes back in your head. Go ahead, take it on a hop.
Sorry, Mr. Trimboli.
Bobby, I got a lot of money bet on this race tonight. I need you to do the right thing. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I always do the right thing.
All right, because if you don't win this race, I'm going to have to tell your mother.
Come on, don't do it.
And she'll give you an ass-kicking, boy. Bobby.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go. Stand on that gas pedal.
You got it.
I'll see you up at the chatterbox.
All right.
All right?
Yeah.
Good luck. Macy's dead.
Feel like jamming?
There comes a time in life when you have to decide to fight for what you want. You gotta be strong, man, it's the only way. Cause what's the point of living if you're gonna give it? Don't let them take your dreams away. You waited a lifetime for this, but you giving it up for anybody. Just like the one that you sing, that you always were and always will be the king. I hail the king. I hail the. This is the time to teach your moment, and everything you work for, fall for. People, this will seize the day. What's the point of living if you're gonna give it? You gotta make it pay whatever ways to do it right. Keep it real. Fight the fight. Don't you ever kneel, cause they don't know what it's like. Yeah, they don't know how it feels. You waited a lifetime for this, but you give it up for anybody. Just like the one you say, cause you always were and always waited a lifetime for this, but you give it up for anybody. Just like the one you say, cause you always were and always will be the king. All the haters, alligators, masturbators, so shit, cause I'm riggers, all the roaches and the rattlesnakes, fakes, retro race. This is the United States and I am the American dream. You waited a lifetime for this, but you give it up for anybody. Just like the one you say, cause you always were and always waited a lifetime for this, but you give it up for anybody. Just like the one you say, cause you always were and always never stop. You make it my people go whenever you do it right. Keep it too hot, never stop. You make it my people go whenever you do it right. Keep it too hot, never stop. You make it my people go whenever you do it right. Keep it too hot, never stop. People go whenever you do it right. Keep it okay.
Thanks again for watching the A Game this week. I'm glad you're still here because now I can tell you that I have a YouTube channel. Well, you actually may be watching it on the YouTube channel. So if you're not on my YouTube channel, subscribe to it now. If you are subscribed, thank you. Spread the love, share it. Let everybody know why they should be subscribed to the A Game with Rob Akampora because you're having fun, right? Let people know. Please, don't make me beg.